morning and welcome to a fresh edition of your breakfast show on Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. I hope you had a beautiful weekend. My name is Winifred Weber on the show, and of course, we have an array of newspapers for review in this first segment of your show. We have Nigeria's most influential newspaper, Leadership, THISDAY, The Punch, The Nation, Daily Sun, The Guardian, and Vanguard newspaper for review on this first segment of the show. We are going to be looking at what the cover stories are talking about. Starting with Leadership newspaper. Leadership's headline story says kidnapping in FCT, concern as Pantami raises ransom for victims. Kidnapping in FCT, concern as Pantami raises ransom for victims. Says security agencies not utilizing NIN same policy. Terrorist kill victim after ransom payment. Demand additional 60 million naira. We have deployed operatives to rescue them, according to police. Just beneath the headline story, we have the vessel, an illegal oil bunkering vessel, MT Kali, impounded by a combined team of personnel of Tantita Security Services Limited and men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC at Pennington Oil Field in Bayelsa State on Thursday. That's a good one. Kudos to Tatina and NSCDC for that combined effort. It was actually a story that trended over the weekend. Above the headline story, we have detained vessel. We loaded 119 tons of crude oil, captain. Of course, this is a story following the photo caption on photo story on the cover of Leadership. Detained vessel. We loaded 119 tons of crude oil, according to the captain of the pounded vessel. SAC Plateau lawmakers can seek review of verdicts, analyst. The story continues on page 7 of Leadership. SAC Plateau lawmakers can seek review of verdict. It will be recalled that the Court of Appeal actually sacked the lawmakers under the PDP platform for not being nominated by the party. But the analysts are saying SAC Plateau lawmakers can seek review of verdict. Other stories making the cover of Leadership says kingmakers reject the position of Kogi monarch. Armed Forces Day, we won't compromise Nigeria's unity, according to Senate President Akpabio. Cuba will never submit to US dictates, envoy. APC vows to reclaim Edo, retain Ondo, capture Anambra. Troops reject 12 million naira bribe, arrest smugglers in Ogun. AFCON, Eagles draw with Equatorial Guinea. The story continues on page 31 of Leadership. Of course, is the ongoing AFCON matches. Our stand today is honoring the sacrifices of our armed forces. Today is Armed Forces Day. Of course, Nigeria is celebrating our slain heroes who gave the ultimate prize with their life. Honoring the sacrifices of our armed forces. For more, log on to the website of Leadership. Just before we go, we move over to the back page of the paper with Dakuku Peterside, and he's writing on greed, ethics, and public service in Nigeria. Greed, ethics, and public service in Nigeria. Of course, going by the recent development in our NDAs, you have to log on to the story for more details on that column. Log on to the website of Leadership, www.leadership.ng, for continuation of headline stories, the editorial, back page, and inside stories. From Leadership, we have THISDAY next on our menu, and THISDAY says PDP heads to NJC over appeal court verdict, ousting Plateau lawmakers. Just like what we have in Leadership, that analysts said they can actually seek review of verdict. PDP heads to NJC over appeal court verdict, ousting Plateau lawmakers. Is a story that is headlining all the cover stories today on THISDAY. Injustice inflicted on Plateau irreversible, says Ozekome. Other senior lawyers say state government can approach Supreme Court to set aside judgment. That is the headline story on this day. Of course, it's also one of the cover stories on leadership today. Sack Plateau lawmakers can seek review of verdict. And above that, we have mixed reactions as Nigerians confront ransom to rescue family of six Abuja captives, which incidentally is the headline main story on leadership. Mixed reactions as Nigerians confront ransom to rescue family of six Abuja captives. Pantami says friend raised 50 million naira. Reject security architecture. Kidnappers, bandits operating unhindered. Article charges federal government. Adeniyi will drive more efficient, transparent revenue optimized operations in 2024. And above the masthead of this day, we have presidency. We won't spare anyone found culpable in humanitarian ministry scandal. Declares nobody will be left out as investigating panel goes to the root of crisis. Says Tinubu will face issues of incompetence. Federal government expresses concern over incessant attacks on power assets. The story continues on page 5 of this day. For more, log on to the website of this day, www.thisdaylive.com. From this day, the Punch newspaper is next. Punch headline story says 7 major marketers get approval to sell Dangote fuel. 7 major marketers get approval to sell Dangote fuel. NNPC retail total MRS orders make list. Awaits commercial terms. Ipman Petron to meet Dangote refinery this week. I marketing these. Kano governor supporters celebrate Supreme Court victory. Knock Ganduje. Ex-minister's friend offers to pay 50 million naira for abducted Abuja guests. The story is on page 4 and 5 of the Punch. Of course, it's also one of the headline stories on previous newspapers. EFCC Nigerians want ex-governors to account for 772 billion naira. Policemen not permitted to search citizens' phones. Lagos CP. Policemen not permitted to search citizens' phones. Tinubu strips gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months. That's according to GovSpend. Tinubu strips gulped 3.4 billion naira in 6 months. And of course, with that, we come to the end of the Punch review this Monday, even as we move over briskly to the Nation. Nation's headline story says Supreme Court verdicts. APC didn't trade off Kano Plateau. It's purely a legal matter. Victorious governors hate Tinubu's non-interference. And of course, I'll read the quote open. If there's the suspicion of interference in the arm of government, Friday's ruling and exposition on the part of the judiciary also did show that they are essentially independent. End quote. Government to change approach on discos funding. Electricity distributors fail to pay dividend in 12 years. President gets kudos for anti-graft moves. Ohaneze use Metu OK actions. Don't give better Edu media trial. And just like leadership, we have also the photo caption on the Nation. That is the illegal oil bunkering vessel MT Kali, impounded by a combined team of personnel of Tantita Security Services Limited and men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps on Thursday. Above the masthead of the Nation, we have wasteful Eagles fail to win AFCON opener. Shocker for Ghana, Egypt. Food, forest pressures push inflation to 29%. Experts hopeful on recovery. Edo 2024, APC invites Oshomole, Izeyamu, others. Ikimi, we are with Igudalo. Those are the headline stories on the Nation. For more, log on to the website of the Nation newspaper. And of course, Daily Sun is next on our menu. Daily Sun is leading with turbulent times ahead for aviation sector. Nigeria loses 40% market share over trapped $800 million. High fare compared to neighbors. Jobs, $1 billion revenue at risk as more airlines plan exit from country. Supreme Court, Mahmoud Crowd welcomes Governor Yusuf in Kano. Governor appoints Ganduje Kwankwaso Ulama's orders into advisory council. Alleged 394 million naira fraud. CCT shifts ruling on motion by Kano anti-corruption boss Magaji to January 24. Sale of forms for 2024 UTME keys up today. Imo Agog as Uzodinma begins second term. Tinubu governors Tinubu governor storm Owerri for inauguration. And of course, on the strip, we have Better Edu Ohaneze use kick against media trial. The story is on page 28 of Daily Sun. Of course, that takes us to the last cover story today on Daily Sun. Serap ask Akpabio Abbas to cut 344.85 billion naira NAS budget. The last story beside the masthead of Daily Sun. I'll take that again. Serap asked Akpabio, the Senate President, House of Reps Speaker Abbas to cut 344.85 billion naira NAS budget. Of course, you want to read more on these headline stories, you log on to the website of Daily Sun. From Daily Sun, The Guardian is next. Guardian's leading headline story says Southeast States 10 trillion naira legacy industries rot away amid low earnings unemployment. Southeast States 10 trillion naira legacy industries rot away amid low earnings unemployment. And of course, just beneath the headline story, we have regions unemployment figure is 6.5 million. Lagos realized 651.15 billion naira in earnings for 2022. The five Southeast states generated a paltry 114.5 billion naira of the national figure of over 1.9 trillion naira. Of course, you also have the pictures of the Southeast governors in that illustration. Beneath the headline story, President Tinubu stop corruption before it kills Nigeria. That is the editorial on page 16 of The Guardian. President Tinubu stop corruption before it kills Nigeria. Editorial today on The Guardian. I spent 500 million naira defending my election, says Abia federal lawmaker. How age restriction worsens nation's unemployment crisis. 2027 polls, no consensus yet on candidates as PDP, Labour Party, NNPP's mega talk thickens. Serap asked Akpabio Abbas to slash self-serving 344.85 billion naira NAS budget. Agric finance budget ministers meet on food inflation. Al-Qadia ex-minister's Pantami's friend donates 50 million naira to rescue 5 abducted sisters. Igu Konton Cafe kickmakers Dare Bello rejects the position of Ohimege Igu. And of course, the last story today is on Tompolo's men arrest vessel with 193,000 tons of stolen crude. Of course, you'd like to read more on these headline stories, the editorial on President Tinubu stop corruption before it kills Nigeria, and other leading stories on The Guardian today. Log on to the website www.guardian.ng. From The Guardian, we move over to the last paper on our menu for headline review this morning, and of course that is Vanguard. Vanguard's headline story says manufacturers threatened as CRR rises 45.5% to 13.81 trillion naira. Trend threatens banks intermediary role, analyst. Companies' access to credit curbed as cost of money rises. It's a story that continues on page 19 of Vanguard. Another sub-headline story says one of adopted sisters dies in captivity. That's a story that is also leading in other previous newspaper review. Armed men abduct 45 passengers in 3 commercial buses in Benue. Armed men abduct 45 passengers in 3 commercial buses in Benue. That is alarming. Of course, the rate of kidnapping in FCT and all across Nigeria is alarming, as reported and by Leadership newspaper and of course other newspapers too. Catholic bishops decry high-level corruption in Nigeria. Remembrance Day, governors drum support for armed forces, families of fallen heroes. Supreme Court verdict within trade of Kano, APC. And above the masthead of Vanguard, Nigeria can't make progress without true federalism. That is Obong attack, former governor of Cross River State. Ohaneze used praise Tinubu flame media trial of Beta Edu. And in sports, AFCON, Nigeria one drew 1-1 with Equatorial Guinea. Westerhoff, one in shock, asked many questions about Eagles. Of course, the questions many Nigerians are still asking, including yours sincerely. With that, we've come to the end of the first segment of newspaper review on your breakfast show Inside Nigeria. Don't forget, we have second segment of the show coming up with our guest in the house. My name is Winifred Ugbebo. Do stay tuned. On television. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, your host on the program. Of course, I have my Monday guest in the house. He's a political economist, a PhD holder, and of course, a public affairs analyst, Ali Elias. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's always a pleasure to have the program. Yes, leadership's leading story is something that's also bothered me over the weekend, and I was just like on these security issues in FCT as well as other parts of the country. It has not abated. Instead, it has even grown worse in dimension and in the volume. Kidnapping in FCT, concern as Pantami raises ransom for victims. What can be done? Because over the weekend, while I was dwelling on this issue, what came to my mind was that with all the digital, are we having a police that is a manual police? Why are we not deploying digital techniques in tracking these security issues?
All right, thank you for having me. First and foremost, I think it is now moving towards the reach, and it's changing
No, it has always been with them.
The dimension. No, the
No, it has
dimension now
always
is
been
now
them.
changing. For them to come out and say yes, we pay ransom, I have to raise for ransom. It shows a very serious issue that we are facing. So because it has degenerated. Before we say kidnapping is for one particular area, one particular. Now on broad daylight, people will be
Even in FCT, just in FCT.
So it's becoming
not
a
had
serious issue. And I think at this point in time, we need to go beyond all this manual policing.
Exactly, because I was
things
dwelling on it over the weekend, and what came to my mind is that we are still having a manual police, a police that is not using technology to actually tackle security issues. We have none. We had SIM registration. We have all manner. We have even BVN and
they will even call them and tell them to bring the ransom.
Yes, it's true. The same phone they use. What
So
come is not being tracked, and we are having a situation whereby even with the police, as compared to Western world, where when somebody is kidnapped, the police will tell you no, it's an offense for you to pay ransom. But here is the police itself that is supposed to ensure the return of the kidnapped victim. We will be the one telling the parents, I will advise you to go and pay the ransom. We'll just do whatever they ask.
Beyond
and you even pay, because we have a situation whereby one of those kidnapped, the sisters, one was killed.
Beyond digital platform or beyond all that sophisticated way, police also need to be checked.
Yes.
Because these people also get information.
Yes.
So when they are informed of attack coming, in fact they will change the location, because I recall the one that happens around Akiti to Kuje axis. There is always information for these people.
Yes.
So they will move from one place to the other. All the victims have also said that they will say they should continue walking from one place to the other. In fact, there was this musician that was kidnapped with his team. They're about 18. When he talk about the ordeal, they pay 100 million for 13 of them. It's a bad, and Nigeria. Do we now say we have a governed
when
country?
you said now it's getting to the rich, no, I beg to disagree, because there were so many rich kidnapped, even those in government. I heard during Buhari's government, one of the top profile ministers was actually kidnapped, but it was kept in hush tone.
What I'm trying to say is that the rich are not, before now, the rich are not seeing it as a general problem.
Yes.
They're not taking
serious.
Now it has happened to Pantami. His family, his cousin, and what have you. He is now coming out and owning up that he is even begging people to raise money. You understand?
Yes, another paper said Nigerians profound ransom to rescue family of 6.
It's a serious issue, and let me even tell you, the small one, what we call one chance, we cannot even tackle it.
Yes.
And it's happened the same route.
Did you see a couple that was paraded?
You see,
a couple, husband and wife, and another lady. We actually paraded for one chance, and it was even reported that one of their victims died.
See, these are the problems.
A couple, husband and wife.
But for me, I think our police force need to be checked properly. Yes. Just the way the issue of Boko Haram, our armies do also need to be checked, because all these things keep happening. Instead of them to reduce, and we have look at how much we have spent for security, 3.2 trillion for security, and there is no answer. It's a serious problem. This present minister is saying that it's going to start on again to have CCTV at every junction or whatever. Well, they have tried it before and we don't see it
when
working.
It was budgeted,
so I don't know. So
was it during the twilight of Jonathan's
exactly? They even bought it too, but they bought old school and they put it there. I don't see it functioning. It's about 13 billion as at that time. It's a huge amount. So we don't see it. So we must start making sure that we follow things as it's supposed to be. And people should be. Another thing is that how many people have been paraded? How many people has been brought to book? How many people has been sanctioned? By the time you see people being well sanctioned, it will form a deterrent for all that. So I think we must take this book, and also we community, we people that stays in everywhere. If you see someone that is suspicious, please alert. They will only ask that person.
But just like what you also pointed out, police is also a problem, because by the time you alert, they'll say police is your friend. But I would make bold to say that I really don't think so, because there are many people that have actually alerted police, that have reported police. Police will, at the end of the day, betray the person to the suspect and say somebody. Well, we had a situation whereby a lady was killed and probably even burned to death in Sunny Bay, one of the estates in Abuja, because she informed the police. And police, on the other hand, some of them, we have so many
lot of issues. Our police need to do more.
How do you call it?
I don't know if they are going to increase their salary to make sure. Exactly. Even Nigerian Army, I can also tell you, I travel through the road to Lagos. I was surprised. They are also collecting. So it's a serious issue now. I don't know how we are going to solve it. You see the style they are using, dimension. So, and they are using that risk. Even we in the passing vehicle are saying, no, this is not the Nigerian Army we used to know. Everything is because it's degenerated. So I think they need to also tame it, and also making sure they secure who is securing us. You have to also be checking them. You can't leave them to be doing what they are, because at every element of crime, there's an element of information that those criminals are getting in terms of their security.
Exactly, because most of the weapons are even being rented out to them by security operatives. For instance, 3 years ago, there was an audit report that was carried out, and among them was in MDAs, was the police. And it was discovered that over 200 rifles were missing, and nobody was brought to book. Nobody accounted for it.
You remember the issue of EndSARS then? One of the objectives of EndSARS is to make sure our police are better.
Yes.
And up to now, the problem is they are going to be a solution. Up to now, there is no solution. And they are stopping. Say, no grief for anybody. They are saying it's a bad statement. So a lot of things.
We're talking about innovations and technology to tackle security. One can actually say that in some few cases, people that lost their phone, they've actually used, police have actually deployed their technology.
If they want to. Yes. If they want to, that is the language.
To track. Then why are they not using it for?
Well, the fact is, I told you they stole my car, this Sky Memorial. Yes. Very, very close. It's a clean case. So when they stole that car there, I rushed down to Bega to inform the police. Say, no, we don't have the power to ring to tell people to search. Go to Utako. Do you know I went to Utako? The person that's supposed to attend to me, as I was complaining, the person was walking out to go and eat. I can't forget that scenario. It took that person 2 hours before he came back and asked me. So you say your car lost. What color is that? I said, that time that you left, I was discussing this car. So you are the one to respond to me. So you can see how like a dicey car are there. And thereafter, I still pay for them to help me look for my car. Up to now, there is no. So citizens have lost confidence in Nigeria.
But your case is even mine compared to what I was told. But even a colleague here, his colleague who is also in the media, lost his car. He went to report to the police. Of course, police will always tell you that they don't have paper to take your statement and all whatnot. The guy provided the money and even actually gave them money to do that. They now ask the guy to be reporting. So anytime the guy reports, you always find the money. They say, oh, don't worry. They kept assuring him. Until the guy, obviously, something took him away in the course of the job. He went back maybe 6 months after. He was asking the police, when he got there, the police was asking, hey, how have you found your car? The police that were supposed to look for the guy were not the ones asking the guy. He said the guy shook his head.
It's a pathetic situation. In fact, for them to follow me to VIO, to road safety, I have to provide the vehicle, provide the money. A lot of things that are going wrong.
No,
so I don't
think... what can be done? Because so many talks have been made, rhetorics on security issues in Nigeria as a whole, and now it's right here on our doorsteps in FCT, and it's not abating, not anytime soon. So what can actually be done about it?
All of us in FCT are living in palpable fear. I must tell you.
So I think it was an issue that nominated by us over the weekend. If we live
in FCT and we are scared, so where is better?
Exactly.
Where is safe? So the question now is that it has to do with from our leadership again. Our commissioners need to be up and doing the more. And when we say we always stop it at police. I think we should go beyond it. We have NSC, DC, we have DSS. A lot of them. A lot of security. They should come together. And because I recall when I was much younger, you say a shoemaker, they say, don't try him. It could be a CIDO. It could be we have to go back to that level.
They also think that so most policemen are just brazenly, they are brazen enough that they are also engaging in it. Because there was a report I saw in Rivers State how this guy was kidnapped from. Yes, he was kidnapped and taken to the bush. They were carrying operations. They hid him, tied him in the car, and when they finished the operation, they took him to the bush. Policemen, And they now said, who should they call? The guy said they should call, when he was a hotel staff working in a hotel, they should call his manager. And they called the manager. Incidentally, whether the police DPO or was with the manager when they made the call. So we just handed over. The guy, the DPO disguised and was answering them. Okay, we are bringing the money to you. Where are you? And they caught them.
Imagine, that's a good one. And it's because that DPO did not soil his hand in that process
in
also.
The paper. So I don't know what will be the outcome. But at the end of the day, we don't get to see the outcome.
The results, that's the problem. Everything investigation, and nothing will come out.
Because my late chairman used to say that the truth, he was unequivocal. He said it's the police that is involved in all these kidnap issues. That was what my late chairman used to say. That led to me. They should just disband the police and start a new information. So, Aliu, I ask again, what can be done? Is there no end in sight for these kidnappings and crime rates in Nigeria?
I think it will still start from the people federal government appoint as the leadership of these security agencies. If they have that commitment, we trickle down to the last person. And if we still rely on police, we don't have any choice now. Any place don't. But the thing is, they need to show more commitment and much more technologically advanced beyond what they are doing. I think that would be, because if you go abroad, if you go to those foreign countries, you don't even see police. You don't see police with gun.
Yes.
Everybody will go.
But why is it that they are not changing the security architecture?
Up till now, for now, the new IG is still new.
We have also a new police commissioner of FCT. What is the FCT commissioner?
They don't come with good how do we call it, good commitment, and that's why sometimes some leader will have changed them, because if you don't show that commitment, you go because we want to be safe. That's why you are there. So you are there.
We just pray and hope that things get better. Security situation in Nigeria.
It concerns all of us now. And like I said, I will continue to say it.
What happens to those that cannot afford to pay ransom?
Well, the thing is that even those people are changing their style now. They are looking at it before they even kidnap you. If they don't know you don't have the worthwhile to really pay them. Because if you end up kidnapping somebody that is not, nobody will. You end up collecting 100,000 or 50,000. That's how it is now.
Oh, thank you so much. Now we'll move on to another leading story, and that is the one from Supreme Court verdicts. APC didn't trade up Kano Plateau, but that is not the story. The story is on leadership of another second headline story. SAC Plateau lawmakers can seek review of verdict analyst. Why THISDAY says PDP heads to NJC over a big court verdict ousting Plateau lawmakers, because if you actually look at it, the Supreme Court verdict affirming Mufwang as Kano State government is contradictory to the judgment that was given in respect of the House of Assembly.
Supreme Court is a court of policy.
Yes.
Now that is a court of policy, I think they have a premise to go back to court and said there was an error. Yes. So we need to seek redress. And it will be so hard, because you know why? I followed the judgment and I saw some of the vibrant House of Rep member from Plateau, and you just come and just say, and it's a pre-election issue.
And you already said that it has already been established by Supreme Court, even in presidential election.
Before now,
at least that ought to have guided them.
So I expect those lawmakers to seek redress. It's very, very key.
They should.
When they seek
go to the
redress,
Supreme Court.
it also, and also the judge.
Because Justice Okoro
should be looking
recently said during the presentation that no, you don't have any business in looking into the affairs of APC.
And those people lost out because their case ended in appeal court.
That is why maybe we have to look at it and see how we can rejig it back.
No, I don't see. I also don't agree with bringing it down. I only agree that Supreme Court.
But in this case, what do you do? Because we have an obviously
they can appeal on this case, right?
Okay.
But going forward, it will still remain that Supreme Court. I mean, their case end up in appeal court. You know why? Political issues are much more in our court.
You can imagine if Supreme Court had not actually upheld
the Kano Plateau.
No, I'm talking about Plateau. No, Plateau is in the eye of the storm, considering the conflicting judgments in place. You can imagine this Mutwang that won in a landslide would have just been removed like
honestly, that. I don't know.
And somebody that did not win now become governor.
I must tell you,
people's will no longer prevail.
I sat in the room and I was watching the judgment. I was now thinking as a Nigerian, that does it mean they want to trade off Kano for Plateau or Plateau for Kano? You know, the judgment was coming. So, but at the point I saw that it go this way, I now saw that, well, does it mean president did not intervene? Because, you know, a lot of meaning to read to it. You know, trust Nigeria. I think we are still waiting for Nasarawa, right?
Oh yes.
That's another thing.
No, we are also waiting for now. I was waiting for.
So I want to see what will happen at Nasarawa before I will now make
on my own part. I was waiting with bated breath for that Plateau state, because considering the appeal court tribunal that nullified the PDP,
it's not only House of Reps, even the State House.
That's what I'm saying.
That's a serious issue.
Yes, House of Reps, and that even upturned the senator. Remember, the senators were also upturned.
Exactly.
That was what brought Lalong back to the Senate. Took Lalong not back to the Senate. So I was like expecting that, that means Supreme Court is going to nullify Mutwan.
Honestly, you know, from me from the way the judgment was going, I've lost hope for
Mutwan. Exactly.
You know, I was surprised when he said he was not part of. I said, he didn't part of.
That's
not a good statement.
That's what he said. So when it came out, I was like, you see, this is quite contradictory to the previous.
That's why I said the judge for appeal court need to be called, you know, to all that. Because going forward, it's confusing the country.
Reports calling for her removal. You know, the president of the Court of Appeal, what is her name?
Adiwola.
No.
Okay, Court of Appeal. Okay.
CJN. She's from Plateau State. Yes, and many people are seeing her hand. I'm not saying that's alleged. And
the president.
Court of Appeal.
President from Plateau.
From Plateau State, of course, nominated during the Lalong's time. I'm not reading minutes to it, but there has been cause.
But there is a, you know.
So there have been cause for her removal, given what played out from Plateau State.
You know, those could be politicized as well. This is Nigeria.
Let's keep our fingers crossed and see how it goes. So we are moving ahead, and of course, the next topic for our discussion is the aviation sector. Daily Sun released turbulent times ahead for aviation sector. But my worry is, or what I'm saying, that, you know, out of the $800 million trapped funds, at least Nigeria was able to pay
61 right
million dollars.
It was a good one.
Which was a good one, but
but what is it good?
It has not appeased
exactly.
The foreign
you know why I said it is not good. If the whole debt is 2.1 in the whole world, and Nigeria is taking 8% of you know, it's a serious issue. That means
$61 million out of 800 million. That brings it to about 240.
It will not show, and that's part of our dollar issue too. So we have to look at it, and it's also discouraging companies from coming to invest in Nigeria. But I think Kiamo should do more, because that's the sector, and we'll score him by what happened in that sector. Though Minister of Finance is trying, but president needs to do more to really show and pay. And that's the part of the issue we complain about the last government. You know, you look at things getting worse before you take action. You could see, in as much as we don't want to praise Tinubu and we're not his spokesperson, there's some body language is giving us that we are saying that this is a positive
but many have said that he should not do half measure, he should go the whole hog.
Well,
because his minister, although he's a star of his administration, has been fingered. So the gravity
of the issue is a bit different.
But they are,
you know, it is not his ministry. He is not though he might be a shareholder, but it's possible sometimes, not canvassing for him, that your staff will go and look for business for your organization. You know, and they need to use the goodwill. Perhaps they use the goodwill without telling the boss that we're using your goodwill.
No, but we also saw one play that in during the SGF. The grass cutting.
That's this.
SGF. We also stayed at the end of the day.
No.
You know, initially he tried to
court has freed him. That's another thing we need to look at.
Yes,
but his own case is different. You know why? It was his own agency that they got the contract. But in this case, it was not Ministry of Interior. It was humanitarian. So
of course, people have already established.
And this man has been a businessman.
Established friendship between
very possible. In fact, we saw them shaking shaking hands, and that, you know,
and something sharing too. News sharing that Dangote's refinery has started refining,
and it's refining what products?
It's refined. It has been supplied with crude.
What I'm saying is refining aviation fuel.
Okay.
Not petroleum yet.
Yes.
So we are waiting for
to
petroleum.
also bring down the price of. That's why I say it's sharing news.
Well, it's sharing news because for aviation and kerosene. So that would be that's a good news. Honestly, it's going to be a good relief for us. Our question is that will it reduce the cost of buying those things?
You think so?
You
think it won't?
You know the major problem is that government has been the sole importer. So now, if we are refining in Nigeria, we are only cutting off the transport cost.
The landing cost
thank you. And it is not private that is always important already. Okay, so it will not make any difference. It's still the same place. You see what I'm trying to say? So it cannot make a difference. We can only have a difference maybe when there's enough supply. Enough availability. You can reduce by 5 naira or 2 naira, all those. But for a major difference, government is the one important. So they are not. That's why about some days they complain that they are not making any profit. They want to increase the fuel to 1,200. So that simply means that for me, that Dangote is producing, that Nigeria is refining, may not reduce the cost of buying fuel.
But NNPC has actually tried to hold on to, because they are still selling Tinubu strips got 3.4 billion naira in 6 months.
3.4 billion.
Yes.
Tinubu.
Strips.
I understand. For me, I wouldn't say it's too much. We're in a global economy. So what you spend in Nigeria is not what it depends on what it attracts. President need to go for some official visits. It's always expensive. For me, I don't think it's much. But what is it attracting? And from the body language, he has also given to us that he's going to reduce his age. You now say 20.
Yes, but
so when it's
however, few people shared at the news, people said no, even Buhari did it. At the end, they didn't stop the
yes, and I was happy when people are bringing those stories that
it was,
follow it through. He's not only mentioning those things. So I think I'm expecting him to really put action. But if you look at him, some things he's saying, we are seeing action. So we expect it to follow it through. Perhaps we don't judge this government. For me, this is their gestation period. All what they plan. This is their own budget. All what they plan, everything. Let's see 2024. So 2024 is a year to really judge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Thank you so much. That is our takeaway from today's program.
Thank you for
2024. This year is the time to judge President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you.
Look forward to seeing you same time next week.
Thank you.
Well, viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's Inside Nigeria, your breakfast show on Leadership Television. My name is Winnie Fred Global. Don't forget, same time, same station is another day. See you then. Bye.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.